Hey AfterBuzzers, you are watching the Amazing Race After Show here on AfterBuzz TV for Season 28, Episode 6 and 7. We will be talking about the non-elimination leg and continuation leg that turned into an equalizer. Right here on AfterBuzz TV, stay with us.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
All right, we're here.
I'm so excited.
That was fun. That was a fun new intro that we're getting used to now here in AfterBuzz. It's been a while, ladies. How are you?
It's been so long. So long. I'm so happy to be back, and we have so much to recap. Two full episodes.
So much to recap. 6 and 7, but we're finally back in the studio, and we're ready to go.
Yeah, and we're already like halfway through April.
Which is insane.
Oh my God, where has time gone? Anyways.
But we appreciate all of you at home who are tuning in right now live. There's 18 people watching. We give you guys a big shout out. We appreciate your continued support every single week, and we're sorry that we've been MIA for the last few weeks.
Well, the show took a hiatus, so
that's true.
Right.
And it was a non-elimination leg.
It was a double episode basically anyway, so it's good that we're going to keep it all together.
All right, since we do have 2 episodes to recap, let's just dive right into episode 6. It was exciting only because the country that they went to was one that they've never been to on The Amazing Race, which is Armenia.
Right, that was cool. Good, we got to see a little sneak peek of it.
That was exciting, yeah.
And it kind of was interesting how it continued into this leg too, because Georgia is also another country that they've never been to. But starting off in episode 6, teams travel to the country of Armenia upon arrival to their capital city of Yerevan. I think
that's a good one,
right. Yep. They made their way to Yerevan Opera Theater to witness a performance of Sabre dance while searching for their next clue inside the theater, leaving them to figure out that it was actually held by the lone janitor. The clue instructed them to travel by foot to Yerevan Cascade and climb all 500 steps to find the clue box containing the Detour clue.
This was frustrating a little bit.
Yeah,
because, you know what? Because it's so easy and everyone makes it so hard. Like, you get in there and you're looking around, you're like, okay, there's a clue somewhere. And, you know, you have to notice that, like, there's this dude vacuuming that's, like, not really vacuuming. But this happens on the race a lot. Like, I understand it because sometimes you expect things to be so tricky and to be so difficult that you look right past the obvious. Like, there could have even been just, like, a clue box sitting there and people still would have been, like, flipping chairs over.
Right.
So I kind of was like you wonder after a couple teams got it, like, why is no one else getting that? This is so easy. Like, they were going in the back, going in cabinets, going through people's lunch. So that's where Tyler and Corey like really got behind here, and I was no.
Yeah, because you always expect it to be harder than it is.
You think it's going to be harder, and that messes with you, and it turns out, you know, the guy vacuuming is just holding it.
Yeah.
So that was hard to watch, definitely.
It was frustrating, just like you said, it was frustrating.
I would have been exhausted just climbing all the 500 steps.
Is 500 really a lot, though?
You know what? And I was wondering about that,
but
too.
I feel like once you do it, it's like, holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, they had their bags. And
okay,
some
that's
of them,
true.
it was weird because I saw some of them, like, one person was holding 2 bags, or some of them one had a bag and the other person didn't. And I was like, usually the rule is, like, if you can see where you're going, like, whether it's a clue box or fill or whatever, you can put your bag down to go and do that and then come back and get it.
Oh.
So I'm thinking that maybe some people did that, but maybe some people thought, okay, once we get to the top, we're not coming back down, so we better take them. But that would have sucked with the bags doing the steps.
That would have. But I was thinking, I was like, okay, so I do the Santa Monica stairs. I wonder how many that is. Like, if I did the math, what is really 500? But I think 500 is a pretty decent amount of steps.
But I would prefer running upstairs than hills.
For sure. Yeah. Hills are the worst.
I think I would have taken hills.
Oh.
I don't know, I get messed up on steps because I'm like so short and like.
But you could do like single steps or double steps.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're getting into too much of the steps.
Anywho.
Hills or stairs. That sounds like a detour in itself.
So the stairs sucked. Moving on.
Yeah.
Once the teams got their clue from the janitor, it was the detour for this episode, which is between thread and bread. In thread, teams traveled to Magarian carpet factory where they had to make a row of 200 proper stitches of an Armenian carpet using a pattern. In bread, teams traveled to Parvana bakery where they had to roll out dough and bake 15 traditional bread called lavash. Again, totally butchering the language here. On a tonnier Armenian underground oven. Once they had baked 15 lavash to the baker's standards, they received their next clue. Which detour would you ladies have done?
Well, if I just heard the 2 and I didn't really know much about it, first of all, I hate cooking. I hate baking. So I probably would have done the threading just because I've made jewelry and I've done all that stuff. But I don't know. What would you have done?
I definitely would have done the bread. But here's why. If you mess up the carpet, you don't know until you're done that you messed up. And then you can't just like do a little extra. You kind of have to do it over. With the bread, when you brought the 15 up, they were like, okay, 4 of these suck. Go back, make 4 more.
Right.
So to me, that's better because like even if you do it wrong, you can just keep adding bread. Okay, let's make a few more. Let's try.
Yeah.
I think messing up in the carpet is probably worse and took more time than just like trying to make, you know.
Well, it's like 200 stitches. Like if
Right.
you've never sewn before.
What if you stitched the 4th one the wrong color or
and then you
something?
have to go back
Yeah.
and redo
Right.
it.
So, I mean, the bread, you just, okay, we need 15, let's make 20 and go up there, and then they'll throw a couple away, and you're
Right.
done.
Right.
And plus, like, maybe you get to eat the bread.
Yeah.
That would be true.
That's what I literally just said in the live chat. I was like, what would everyone do? It seems like a lot of people would do bread. I'm 100% there with you because I love my carbs. So, but like what you were saying, like there's more room for error when you're doing threads. Like I've tried to sew, I've tried to knit, and I'm not good at
Like,
it,
I don't have
nor
the
do I have
patience
that
for
patience.
that. I would just,
say-
like, keep making breads over and over
Right.
again.
So
Yeah, you have to make
bread
have
would make the
patience.
most sense because it's like, okay, if you make one bad loaf or roll, then okay, I'm going to learn from that mistake
Right.
and watch the guy do it again and figure it out from
It's
there.
not like you had to start over on the 15th.
Exactly. So I
Yeah.
definitely would have done bread.
So I would have probably been in the back of the bus on this one with my thread.
I feel like you'd be good at sewing, though.
Yeah, but it's just the patience thing.
Yeah.
I would be like, oh, screw this. Let's move on.
Diana said in the live chat, Diana from the Green Team last season, Bernie and Ashley should have made a few extra bread after Kurt and Brody came back with the rejected ones. It was their chance to get ahead.
So true.
That's what I would have done too. Is I would have made extra because if you go up there and a few don't work, then you have extra.
Yeah.
Like, which one of these is bad? But then again, how can you mess up bread? Unless it's like totally
Yeah,
burnt.
it had to be just like kind of look like what it was supposed to look like. If it was too mangled, then they threw it out. But that's just like for fun anyway. Oh, you messed a few up. These are good. Like whatever. It's just, I don't know.
And poor Ashley got burned, and she was like, my curling iron does more damage.
Yeah.
Once teams completed the detour task, they were given clues that instructed them to travel to Republic Square and choose a bus to the town of Hatsavan. Once disembarked near the shadow of Mount Ararat, it's like a tongue twister
many.
here. They opened their roadblock clue. One team member had to choose a Lara Vaz 2101 taxi from the roadside along with a driver, direct it onto a ramp, and properly perform all the oil change on the taxi to receive their next clue, sending them to the pit stop. What did you ladies think of this roadblock?
Why did Sherry do the roadblock?
Poor thing, but they like showed up. They showed up like right after Brody and
know,
Kurt.
but we're
so it's
not
like she
at the
kind of had a
point-
lead.
It doesn't matter. We're not at the point in the race where, either Cole's done too many and she had to.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not there, and no matter what place you're in, and it's an oil change, like, let him do it. Like,
Right.
it just, I don't know. It just seemed, I guess because they were ahead, they thought, okay, we have some leeway here. Like, maybe she can do it. But, like, at the end of the day, I mean, unless a girl is a mechanic, like, a boy needs to do this.
Yeah, exactly. I was shaking my head like, Cole, why?
Yeah. So that was a little bit.
Well, I just felt bad for her. I mean, like, it was exciting to see Sherry and Cole kind of be towards the front of the pack. And then she just kept, I think she was just getting so worked up and so in her head that it was just really, like what Phil said, she just got the best of herself. Like,
Yeah.
she just...
I mean, it was just simple. What she was doing wrong, essentially, is she was tightening what she was supposed to be loosening. So
Yeah.
she was, like, turning it to the right when all she had to do was turn it to the left. But she got frustrated because I think in turning it to the right, she made it even tighter. So no matter what she did, it wasn't coming off, and that's kind of what
Yeah.
stalled her. And then she had help, too. Who helped her? Somebody else helped her.
It was so long ago.
Once they were done, yeah. This was like difficult because a team that was also behind, Tyler and Corey were behind, I think, and they were like, all right, well, Sherry's struggling, so let me help the other team. This way they get done quicker. I can pop into that spot and she'll still be here. So that was really smart of them.
Yeah.
Kind of, I mean, but then once she got it, it was like they were in the same spot anyway. So I don't know what I would have done there. Like, if you have the opportunity to help another team to maybe
Get in
push
their
another
spot,
team behind. Yeah. So I think that was smart, but that was definitely a risk to do that.
Oh, absolutely. And especially because this, like, there was such a high stakes as a competitor because of the express pass. The first place team to check in was going to get it. So
I know.
I can imagine being Sherry like, oh my gosh, we're so close. And then
I think that's why she also
teams
got
keep
in her
coming
head.
in.
Is there was that extra
That
pressure
pressure.
on
Yeah.
her?
Ay,
Wow.
ay, ay, poor Sherry. Once teams completed the roadblock, they were sent to the historic Temple of Garni for the pit stop. In first place, receiving the express pass is Brody and Kurt. And then that's when they got the news from Phil that this was a continuation leg.
Still racing.
In second place, we have Bernie and Ashley. Third place, Zach and Rachel. Fourth place, Dana and Matt. Fifth place, Scott and Blair. Sixth place, Tyler and Corey, just because they were so stranded. This was not a good leg for them. And last place, Sherry and Cole. But luckily for them, Phil gave them the good news that this was a non-elimination and that they were still racing, which now brings us to episode 7. Sorry to all of you that we kind of skimmed through episode 6, but episode 7 is more fresh in our heads.
Right.
And that's when someone goes home. So there's just a lot more to talk about.
Yeah.
So with the beginning of this, I think it would be frustrating for all the teams that did check in to find out it was just going to be an equalizer. That made me so mad.
Yeah,
I was like,
of course,
oh my
that's the
gosh, you've been
worst.
fighting your butt off all day
Yeah.
to get to that pit stop, find out that it's a continuation leg, and then you get to the train station and then everyone's on the same train.
I would have been
It's like you worked your ass off for nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What do you think,
It's-
Marie? Tell me how you feel.
I mean, that does
I mean,
suck.
it's good for the teams at the bottom.
Right, of course it's good for the teams from the bottom. And if you're the first, second, or third, you're so pissed because you're like, oh my God, let's keep going at this pace. We're so far ahead. But what we don't see as viewers is literally how far the separation is. So
Right.
the first place team could have checked in and the last place team could have been 2, 3, 4 hours behind.
Right.
We
True.
see the edited version of this, but that's not how it happens. And if they don't do that, you have people on completely different legs of the race at different times. You know, people are a day behind other teams, and it's not competitive. Yeah, someone can just run away with the race. So there kind of has to be a little bit of a restart after something like that happens. It's frustrating when you're ahead,
Right.
but you kind of have to do it. Otherwise, the person who comes in first in the beginning is just going to keep being
Well,
in
and that's a
first.
good point. Like, if they did keep going, then this leg, it probably wouldn't have been that as exciting as it was because of, the foot races and the neck and neck
Right.
at the Detour. So, or even at the Roadblock. So, you're right. Like,
Yeah.
they need that competitiveness.
Yes, and Diana in the live chat said, equalizers are the worst, with a bunch of exclamation points. But then she said, but Justin and I would have been legs ahead.
Exactly. See?
Oh, green
they would have been
team.
so far ahead.
At the start of the
my
leg,
awesome
what I
green
really
team.
liked what Brody said, and this is one of the reasons why I really enjoy Brody and Kirk, because their head's always in game mode. Not when he's thinking about Blair, but for the most part, he's in game mode. He said, this is a leg where everyone is starting off fresh, it's brand new, and all of the teams are dangerous. Like, he's not counting out anybody at
Yeah.
this point, especially Sherry and Cole, because a lot of this race is luck. So Brody's thinking, like, okay, this is a new leg, everyone's on an equal playing ground. So I really enjoyed that. And then,
I love how they got onto the train, which of course was the midnight train to Georgia.
okay, the amount of times Phil kept just having, like, hammer that on the head, I was like, okay, we get it.
Too much.
We get. Then I had to look up the song just because I wanted to
I
hear
know,
it.
me too. I
was
looked
like,
it
I
up too.
want
I
to
was
play
like,
it.
oh, God. There was like a lot of one-liners, mostly from Tyler this episode, but
Always from Tyler.
always from Tyler. I wonder how many titles of episodes were actually from Tyler.
Surprisingly, most of them are Brody.
Brody,
Yeah.
really?
I was looking at that myself today when I was just looking at
always
Wikipedia,
curious.
and it was mostly Brody's quotes.
I wonder what was last season? Who got the most titles?
Probably Justin.
Yeah.
Shout out to Justin.
So, were you gonna say something about the train ride? I
Yeah,
didn't mean to
so
cut you
they
off.
got onto the train ride, and I love how they were so excited about the beds
and just laying down.
and laying down. And I loved how Blair was like, I wonder if there's a shower, like sitting right next to Brody.
I wonder what went on the train ride. So much happens in like those times when you're just like you have downtime and we had a train ride that was like 20 hours and there were different cabins and who was in whose cabin and what was going on, like, and we don't see any of
Yeah.
that. So I wonder what happened. They totally spooned again.
Well, I mean, we did get some new developments as far as Brody is concerned, because I think it was Blair that said, and Brody, kind of touching on the same subject, that they've both discussed seeing each other outside of the race, and that there might be something there, and what the possibility might be, they'll figure out when they get home. So,
Do you like them together?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a storyline that producers are grasping at, because it's one of the only things that really is going on story-wise, so I can't really get a good gauge on it. And then I did watch Blair on Justin and Diana's recap on their YouTube channel, and I'm pretty sure she mentioned something along the lines how they're just friends. Like, there's nothing really there.
See, I think they're just milking that relationship on the show. I don't think there's anything going on. I mean, I love the two of them, but I just, even on the show, I'm like, you guys are saying these words, but there's no chemistry.
And even if like they did feel like that a little bit, it's because you're on the show and you're trapped with these people, and you start to look at people like it's like being trapped on an island. And like, you know, when you first get there, you don't like anyone, but on day 100, you're like, I could marry that guy. Because like there's no one else left, and that's all your focus is on.
True.
So I feel like of the other racers, they would take an interest in each other if they had to, but they probably wouldn't.
And
if they
maybe
were at a
because
bar
everyone
somewhere.
else is taken, like everyone else is dating or married or whatever.
And I mean, for her, this is smart. Like, even if she doesn't like him at all, she's going to get the express pass maybe or something. Like, he might help them because of this, because they kind of are one of the weaker teams anyway. So if she has a relationship with him, then there's, you know,
it's like an alliance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just catching up in the live chat really quickly. It looks like Justin said that he set the record for the most title quotes in a season.
Nice, Justin.
And going back to Wikipedia, Brody has 3 names for episodes. Tyler has 2. And then Bernie and Blair each have 1. So right now, Brody's taking the cake this season with the quotes. And what else is going on in the live chat? Oh, Mary Duda444 says that scene with Blair and Scott talking about Brody was so awkward. And then Joseph Boza says producers love what Brody says, especially when it comes to the romance aspect with him and Blair. I wonder how producers will get their stories from now since Blair and Scott went home.
Very true.
Yeah, what's going to happen? What developments will come forward from this?
Yeah.
So once teams ended up getting into Georgia, they got clues that told them they had to travel to Freedom Square and search the St. George statue to get their next clue, which then would direct them to Narikala, I think I pronounced it right, fortress, and ride a gondola down to the river, continuing onto one of the monasteries there. Once there, they had to pick up their detour clue. This detour was between clean versus string, and clean teams had to wash out an enormous large traditional clay pot beneath the surface. Once the clay pot was completely cleaned and satisfied by the winery owner, they would receive their next clue. In strings, teams had to thread 5 strings of 20 hazelnuts to make a traditional churchula, a sausage-like candy, dip them into a cooking pot of sugary glaze, and then hang them up to dry. Once they were approved, they got their next clue. So ladies, clean or string, which one would you have done?
I would have probably done clean, because I'm a good cleaner, and just like if it's not clean enough, then you just go back in and you clean more instead of having to start over again.
Yeah. I probably would have done candy just because I like candy. And I would have been like, oh, this is fun.
You always just do the food
Like
ones.
the food one, as long as it's not disgusting. Yeah, but, and also, I mean, it depends, like, if someone's claustrophobic, like, they can't do that. Because I was like, if someone's, like, a little bit bigger, like, they wouldn't have even been able to get in there.
Yeah, well, okay, so I would have picked clean off the bat, but once I saw what you had to do, getting in that hole, I would have probably hyperventilated. And it was cold, and I'm like always cold just to begin with. But I do love cleaning. I'm kind of weird.
But that would have been like a roomy hole for you. Like, you would have been like the only person that like didn't get stuck in it.
I definitely would have done clean, because this kind of goes back to points that you've made, Marie, on previous shows, is that with the hazelnuts, I feel like there's more room for error because you have this judge that making sure you're doing it exactly correct.
Yeah.
Whereas cleaning, like, how do you mess up cleaning?
Right,
You
if
either
there's
are not
nothing
going
in
to
it,
clean hard enough, or you're just going to be lazy while you clean. There's like 2 different types of cleaners. It comes with roommates too. Like sometimes people clean, and sometimes they think they're cleaning, but that's their sense of clean.
Yeah.
So with the pot, I feel like, oh, it's not clean enough, I'll just keep scrubbing until you say it's clean.
It's
Whereas
so funny
the
you
hazelnuts,
mentioned,
you have to get it perfect.
Yeah, it's so funny you mentioned roommates, because I was actually watching this with my roommate, and she was like, "Oh, Jess, you would have been awesome at this one," because I'm like literally that like crazy roommate who like does like her dishes. She's like, "Why are you cleaning?" I'm like, "I just like to clean. It like calms me down."
And it doesn't seem like that difficult of a task if it's something that you actually enjoy doing. So, you know, some people, like me with the candy, like I would have thought it would fun to make candy.
Sure.
So I wouldn't have been mad doing it a million times. But if you hate all that little stuff, like some of the teams got so frustrated and we're like, this is so hard.
My hands are tired.
I was actually watching it with my best friend. We text each other and watch at the same time. She's like, are these people serious complaining that their hands hurt? Like, this is not a physical task. It's not snowing. Like, you're not injured. You're whining that your hands are hurt and you want to switch detours. Like, they're stringing nuts. And it's true. But, like, again, you don't know how long it took. And I'm sure you get frustrated easy. But the thing that I noticed was, again, with, like, the judging, candies that were not good enough in the first couple rounds with teams, like what they looked like, and when the judge was like, no, that's not good enough. Once we got towards the end, other teams were hanging up candies that looked far more terrible than the ones that were, not acceptable in the beginning, and then those were fine.
I honestly think anything Blair could do that's being judged, people are just gonna like let her go by because she's so sweet and she has like such a positive attitude about everything. It's like, oh, you're fine, just keep going.
I guess that appeal wore off this leg.
But honestly, okay, so I know you would have picked the candy one, but those candies did not look very appealing.
They did not. Like, it's probably not the candy you think.
I'm surprised no one even like tried the icing or something. Like,
the sugary glaze.
I would have dipped my finger in there and gone for a spoonful of glaze.
I was actually surprised by how many teams switched the detour in this leg, which again, we always talk about, it's a gamble if you're going to change the detour. But I think it kind of worked to their benefit because it's two teams rather than just one team switching it up. It was two teams because Matt and Dana.
Well, what was Matt and Dana thinking? They get in the taxi. They're like halfway there. So they first decided to go to string. Then they get back in their taxi and they're like, no, all the stations were busy. Let's go try clean. Literally, they're in the car and the driver's like, there's 10 more minutes. And they're like, no, go back. So now... But
the driver had originally said it was like 30 minutes away. So you drove for 20 minutes and then decided to go back? Like what? I just wanted to strangle them. I was like the blind... don't switch. Never switch.
Oh my gosh. And then they get back to the string and of course Tyler and Corey convinced them to go back to the cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was kind of smart because at least they know they would both get to the detour at the same time. They would start at the same time, so it would basically just be up to them. But in my opinion, They should have just stayed at the candy, though, because they based that decision on the fact that Tyler and Corey were like, oh, my God, it's so hard, it's impossible. It wasn't. Nobody else had such a hard time with it, and I don't think that had they stayed there, they would have struggled. They probably would have got it done in a reasonable amount of time and not been, neck and neck with them.
Well, maybe the pressure of just the previous leg and now this one, they weren't thinking very clearly as far as making those choices that they did this leg. Just because they were frazzled last leg from being kind of stranded and not really having much luck with getting from point A to point B. And then now you're this leg and you're neck and neck with people that like one mistake could be wrong. And if they kept trying the hazelnut thing and it wasn't working out with them, it could have been that pressure of like, we're going to be home. So I think they took a risk that ended up paying off for them, but it's a risk that could have really screwed up their game. I was actually surprised that Tyler and Corey even switched to begin with. I was like, guys, just tough it out. Like, you already know the process. Just do a few more. But they didn't. They moved forward. Yeah. In the live chat, Joseph Boza said, Sherry and Cole provided such a comic moment at the clean detour when Cole forgot the hoses on the truck. Because she was all like, find the water. And Cole was lifting things up and rolling empty barrels. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's on the truck. Yeah, that was funny. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm like going back and forth from the chat to my notes. So Matt and Dana, Tyler and Corey switched detours. Everyone did the detours. And there was a few great one-liners, too, with the nuts from Tyler and Corey. Of course. I was like, we've been waiting 7 episodes to dunk our nuts. Oh, God. Seriously, I just love them. Like, I just love them so much. I'm glad they weren't sent home.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, like, they carried this whole season, I feel like, not only are they really fun to watch, like, even if you weren't a fan of them before, like, they're genuinely likable, even to new viewers. And I started to panic because I was like, they're going to go home. Oh, my God, like, they're in last. There's no way. And then I was like, there's no way they're going to go home. Something is going to happen. Yeah, something. Because, to be honest, like... they have so, like, Tyler alone, like, has so many followers. Like, that's who's watching the race this season.
Yeah.
And if he
Yes.
goes home, it's over.
The viewers,
like,
yeah,
it's done.
That's why I said you could literally have had just one season. I'm enjoying this season, but I'm just saying you really could have just had Tyler and Corey in a regular season and it would have made a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But I just love how they have so much fun. Like, they don't really have a lot of stress, and they just have fun with doing everything. And it shows on camera, and it's fun to watch as viewers.
Agreed. Excuse me. Once teams completed the detour, they got their clue to head to the Roadblock, where they had to go to Rustaveli Theater for the Roadblock. A team member had to perform a fast-paced Georgian dance. First, they had to choose an instructor to watch the dance, learn the steps properly, and then perform the dance on stage with members of the Georgian National Ballet. Once their performance was approved, the choreographer would give them their next clue, sending them to their pit stop. What did you guys think of this Roadblock?
I loved this.
Hated it.
Loved it.
I would have been all about this. I was actually kind of like trying to like practice the dances. It was kind of fun.
Oh my God. Did you make a video of that? You should have brought a video in of you doing that.
Me and my PJs like practicing the ballet.
I wish they had some sort of like how-to video on
Right?
CBS.com or YouTube just so people at home could try to
totally
You
attempt
guys
to
would
do
be
this.
the only ones who did that.
And then we would have a really fun video to bring to
could have played it right
AfterBuzz.
Oh my God. Okay, so yes, this is a fun roadblock to do, but it's not. I hate the dancing ones because again, like you're being judged,
I
and
love these.
you
though.
know, when the people who went first and did okay, like 1, 2 tries, okay, fine, you're done. And then there's a couple of people left and we have to watch them do it 10, 11, 12 times. And like once the order is kind of set and like what's going on, then it's like no matter what you do, okay, good, you're done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think on challenges like this, it's just fun for us to watch, and they literally let people mess up like 10 times in a row just so that we can watch it and it can be funny.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, fine.
Well, they definitely got me laughing, especially with those hilarious wigs they were wearing.
I'm surprised it wasn't like a full costume.
I was
like,
kinda
what? I didn't
wishing-
even get the
I was
wig.
hoping it was the full costume
I was too, but some of them, oh my God, like Zach was so sweaty. It was a workout.
Such a workout. Even Corey was struggling with this one. Everyone that participated in this roadblock was Zach, Kurt, Dana, Corey, Sherry, Scott, and Ashley. It was a no-brainer that Dana was going to knock this out of the park. The moment I saw it, I was like, oh, great. But then I kept thinking, oh my gosh, if Tiffany and Krista were on this too, they would
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
dominate this roadblock.
But who would expect that Kurt was so good? He didn't even practice.
there was one
Yeah.
there was one moment where he's like, this dance is so hard. And like, from what I'm seeing, you're
Yeah.
killing
You're getting it.
No, he
Yeah.
was just watching it at first, and he started like following along while watching, and then he was like, all right, wait, fine, we're good to go. Let me go. Like, didn't
Yeah.
even practice, and then nailed it.
I was surprised that Blair didn't do it. Like, why would Blair have Scott do it?
Again, so dumb.
I literally was like, girlfriend, you're young, you're a girl, you're quick on your feet, like, jump in.
It doesn't make sense.
I did not understand
Because
that.
again, we're not at the point where
You don't have to
she
even
would
them
have
out.
had to, yeah.
Right.
And when you're in close to last place, even if Scott had done 5 at this point, like he gets to do 6 or 7. So you're in last place. Don't worry about being even. Like, you know you're going to be better at this. Just do it.
Yeah, I did not get that.
Joseph Boza said, I'm surprised that Dana and Matt didn't take first place as a result of doing this dance. But if I'm not mistaken, I'm
They
pretty
weren't
sure
even
they weren't
there
even
yet,
there
yeah.
within the front of the pack. So
No, yeah.
I think they placed where I would have expected them to
Yeah.
place. I loved what Tyler said, and this is what another one-liner that we just love, is that he said, give me that choreography. It's like, oh,
I
God.
love that. It was so funny. Oh, those one-liners. But so everyone kind of got it.
Surprisingly, though, like I was actually, people picked up on it. I mean, again,
was
they didn't
not-
really show us the time lapse
Right.
of how long it took, but based off of previous seasons, I felt like people picked it up pretty easily.
Right. The 2 people who struggled the most were Corey and Scott. But I mean, it was a challenging dance because you have dancers in the background that are doing different moves that you're doing. So that could have kind of put you
Confuses
off.
you, yeah. And it is difficult because they show us someone on their second try and we're like, oh wow, they got it on their second try. But when you work with the person who teaches you the dance, they're the one who says to you, okay, you're ready to try. So you could have done it through with them 20 times in a row and
Right.
been awful and been
Right.
like, I want to try. And they're like, no, you're not ready. You're not ready. So you have to be good enough to even go up and try. So your second attempt is really like your 30th if you were struggling with it.
In the practice
Which,
area.
you know, we don't see a lot of that because that's going to be boring.
Right.
But I'm sure it took a long time.
Well, watching those guys just dance around in those ballet shoes, I was cracking up. So I loved this roadblock.
Once teams completed this roadblock, they had to head to their pit stop, which was the Bridge of Peace. Oh, it was Wright Park with the overlay of the Bridge of Peace above Carroll River for their pit stop. Bernie and Ashley had some difficulties getting there. They went to the wrong park for the pit stop, which made them lose their lead.
But they were smart. They went to the wrong park and they found someone who they had the woman write down in the Georgian language the directions to the new park. So they literally just handed that to the taxi driver. Because as you saw throughout this entire episode, the language was a very difficult component of the episode.
Oh yeah, the amount of times they kept saying the language.
The language
barrier.
Yeah.
Okay. But
like, what is the language of Georgia?
And Cole was like speaking Spanish to them, and Sherry's like, honey, that's Spanish.
You get so confused, like you really don't know where you are. That happens more times than you think. It's kind of embarrassing because like you'll say please or thank you or something in a completely another language to somebody and they just look at you and you're like, oh, we're not in that country anymore. But you just don't know. You got confused.
A little confused. But I'm excited though because Zach and Rachel got first, which wasn't really expected. I feel like they've kind of been, I don't want to say subpar because that has like a more of a negative connotation, but they're not a team that has really been dominating the competition as other teams stand out.
They've kind of just been hanging in there.
Yeah. So I was excited for Zach and Rachel taking that first place. Second place.
And they were shocked. Like they had no idea.
They're like, how do we beat the other teams?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you always have to run, like, you know, because you never know if you're going to be in first. Even they knew they were probably safe because they're like, all right, we're in second. We're not going to lose. But you literally, when you're going to the mat, like you have to sprint because like you have no idea.
Yeah.
In second place, which was kind of a sprint because it came down to 4 teams. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So first, Zach and Rachel. Second, Bernie and Ashley. Third, Brody and Kurt. Fourth, Dana and Matt. All on the mat together. Then it kind of came down to Sherry and Cole, Tyler and Corey, and last but not least, eliminated Scott and Blair. But it was practically neck and neck with the taxi ride and getting out of the taxi ride, and then Tyler and Corey just with a matter of seconds got
the
onto
thing that happened was the backpack situation.
Yeah.
So like we're watching it and we're like, oh my god, Tyler and Corey are gonna be in last. Like what's going on? And you watch her pick up her bag and her dad's bag. She's like, I'm so confident that we're gonna leave. I'm gonna pick up his bag too, and then he gets done and he grabs what he thinks is his bag and they leave. And I just like kept thinking back to my season with like the placement of Jason and Amy's bags and like how that messed things up and enabled us to be able to have a cab when we would have not. We were almost in last place. There was no cabs around. If their backpacks weren't out of the cab, we would have went home.
Right.
So I look at this as somehow I feel like maybe production moved bags, did something so that this happened so that Tyler and Corey could stay in. Because now that I look back on my season, that happened so that Tim and I could stay in.
Huh, you think?
I mean, I'm speculating. but that was that was it. Like we were at the end. What else could possibly go wrong? You know, you take a taxi and you get out, and I feel like that little mess up is exactly what did it, because when it comes down to a foot race, they're gonna win.
Right.
True.
And you did say, like, could you imagine the rest of the season without Tyler and Corey?
No, I can't.
No.
Everyone would stop
That's
watching.
why I think 100 they're going to be in the top 3.
They have to be. They're going to top 3.
From the
They may
moment
not
they started
win,
running the race,
but
I was like, they're going to be in the top 3.
Yeah.
They're a ratings couple. They're going to be in every episode.
But going back to the backpack thing, Scott had just danced, like, I don't even know, 8, 9 attempts. The least Blair could have done was ran the backpack back up.
Right.
I mean, I was like, girl, throw the backpacks down. Dad, you stay here. I'll run the backpack up. Like, she was just sitting there the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, just that, you know, she probably could have ran up the stairs faster and returned the, I don't know, but I was like, why?
It was a little confusing too, because once they got it to him, they ran in separate directions, and I was like, well, why is Tyler going back to where they were? Like, why didn't they just yell, "We have your backpack, come outside"? Like, I don't know. It was very confusing for like a minute there.
Since we are talking about Scott and Blair, there's a few people in the chat right now that are talking about how they surprised a lot of us with how long they've lasted in the race. Are you guys surprised with how well they've did? I mean, they almost went home in the first episode.
Yeah, until there was the whole bloaty baby thing, so then they had to stay for a little bit.
Yeah.
No, I am very surprised. And, you know, I love seeing that father-daughter because she's young and he's, you know, definitely the oldest one racing.
Sure.
But he kept his own, and I'm surprised that they stayed in so long, but I'm happy that they did.
Yeah. I mean, I like them, but I mean, they're more on the side of like a boring couple. Like, you know, when you look at all the rest of the teams.
Yeah.
Like, what more can we see from them?
Yeah.
It would be cute, obviously, if they won. I mean, but they already got saved once, so
Right.
you're
Can't be saved
done.
again.
Yeah. But
Your lifelines are used up.
But Tyler didn't get that mad about the backpack. He was literally like, "Oh, this sucks, but just keep going." It was an innocent mistake. So.
Well, I mean, luckily, he's lucky it happened. If it didn't happen, they would have been gone.
Yeah.
So
Very true.
can't be too mad.
So that concludes our recap for episodes 6 and 7. I don't have another fantasy draft photo because the website that I edited on was not working today.
Uh-oh.
Technology. Can't live with it. Can't live without it. So we know who are on our team. So let's kind of talk about them and where we're at now.
Whoever was on my team is probably gone. Like,
Well, Jess still only has Matt and Dana.
I know.
She lost the Clever Girls as well
and
as
this episode, I lost Blair and Scott.
Yeah. So
Okay.
how do you feel about Matt and Dana and their position in the race right now?
So they got 4th this leg.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've kind of been in the middle of the pack almost the entire season, but I think that they're gonna stay, and I think they're gonna stay in. Yeah, I'm confident.
Yeah.
I think they definitely have a few more episodes for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Marie?
Okay, so I have who left? I lost
Sherry
my
and
models. I have
Cole.
Sherry and Cole.
And then Magic Zach.
Okay. Sherry and Cole, I'm happy about. They're gonna stay for a while. Same thing, like probably final 3.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for it. I mean, I would love if they won, but I don't know that they're going to. Maybe they will. No, they're gonna win.
I would honestly, I would love for them to win because I'm a
Because that
sucker
needs
for
to
moms.
happen,
I'm
yeah.
a sucker for moms.
And then Zach, like Zach and Rachel, I picked them because I had to pick them. I feel like, again,
You
not
stole
much.
them from me,
Yeah,
actually.
like they just won, but I still don't see it. Like, what is the story? Why am I interested in them? What's happening? Nothing. So they're gonna be like first to last. In
I
this
wish
next
he like
leg.
did
They're
some more
going home.
magic along the way or
Yeah,
something.
there's no magic happening.
No.
No.
And no magic happening between them two either.
Exactly. They're next. They're going home next.
On my team, I have Brody and Kurt. I have Bernie and Ashley, and then Tyler and Corey.
Oh, Mister, I still have 3 over here.
I still have 3 teams, but I don't think that's going to last for much longer. I know you think Zach and Rachel are going to go home next episode, do like a first to worst kind of thing. But based on the preview alone, I'm actually kind of worried for Brody and Kurt because we've seen on previous seasons when you have any sort of injury or whatever to your legs, you're not going to be up to par with the other teams. So I'm worried that they didn't say there was a for sure an injury, but they looked like they were in pain trying to race these camels on bikes. And so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But if either of them have an injury to their leg, I'm just concerned that they're not going to be able to really complete the leg.
Right.
So we'll see about that. But I would hope they don't go.
But they have an express pass, right?
Yeah, oh, that's
Yeah,
true.
so they're fine.
See,
good
so I
point.
think you're okay.
Unless
over there,
like someone
James.
dies, they're at least gonna make it through
Good
the next.
point.
I think,
Then I'm gonna say
okay, so
Zach and
let's
Rachel.
say, who do you think is going to be the top 3?
At this point, I'm almost certain Sherry and Cole will be in the top 3.
And
I
definitely
don't
Tyler
see
and
a
Corey.
final 3 situation without them. Tyler and Corey, without a doubt. But the 3rd place is up for grabs. I would love to see
think-
Bernie and Ashley.
No.
But
No,
it'll be either Bernie or
answers.
Ashley or Matt and Dana.
I think Matt and Dana.
Yeah, just
Because
it gives
Matt
you
and
that
Dana are
variety.
gonna like start fighting more, and like it's gonna get so stressful, and she's just gonna be yelling at him, and like we need that into the final
That's why I'm
3.
like, Sherry and Cole could probably take this, and they're kind of getting this like weak underdog edit,
Yeah.
which then they're gonna come out on top. And I'm like I said, I'm a sucker for moms and her story of like raising all these kids and wanting to do something for herself for once. Like she's gonna have money to provide for her family.
Yeah.
And so I would just love to see a Sherry and Cole win at this point.
But at the same time, Matt and Dana, they would probably finally get married, maybe even on the mat. Who knows?
Well, it depends on if they keep up with their arguing. Maybe they're finally like, this isn't working.
But
You
there's
never know.
always
maybe
drama
they'll break
with them.
up.
On the mat.
There's always drama with them. So that's why I think the top 3 are going to be Tyler and Corey, obviously. Dana, Nat, and Sherry and Cole.
Yeah, you need the cute team that everybody loves. You need the team that everybody's actually watching for, Tyler and Corey.
Then, like,
and then you need the
the
disastrous
fighters.
ratings team. Yeah.
All right,
It'll
so
be
we're
interesting.
anonymous on that one.
We have some people in the live chat weighing in on their thoughts.
Ooh.
Joseph Boza says, Zach and Rachel, Tyler and Corey, Dana and Matt are his final three, as of the episodes we've seen so far. Christian Lunan says his top three are Bernie and Ashley, Brody and Kurt, and Tyler and Corey. And then Mary Duda said my top three would be all the couples.
Oh, so bye-bye Tyler Corey?
No.
I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way.
Sorry about that, but
Aria Dene Benet says, I don't think it will be Matt and Dana because I just feel like they will say something and Matt will snap at her and cause them to be in last place.
Yeah, but that'll happen like in
Every
the
episode.
finale.
The finale.
Yeah.
It'll be worth watching.
Yeah.
That'll be the reason why they lose.
Right.
Oh, so it's just an
Ooh,
exciting.
you mentioned a good point. What if they break up?
Right?
We've seen proposals on the mat.
It's gotta
never
be
seen
something
a
different.
breakup.
Yeah.
We're
When
no
they
longer
like get there and
engaged.
last and like, you know what,
Call
that
up-
was your fault. Done.
Give me my ring back.
It'll be interesting. I'm excited. And I know moving forward, I'm just excited to see what happens just because the teams that are left, to me, are like the true competitors of the season that have just been giving it.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah.
Cool.
All right.
All right. That wraps it up. Where can they find you on social media, Marie?
You guys can find me at Reebsicle on everything.
And you guys can find me at Jess Carroll TV.
And you can find me on Twitter at James Wallington, and I changed my Instagram to at Where's Wallington, which coincides with my YouTube channel, Where's Wallington. I just went to the Philippines for 12 days in March, so I've been putting up travel vlogs about all my adventures that my boyfriend and I went on. So make sure you check that out and learn some fun facts about the Philippines.
Yes.
And I also want to give a huge thanks. I was a part of Reality Rally this past weekend, and I've been posting my fundraising links since October. And we collectively, everyone who donated as well as myself, we raised over $1,300 on my personal fundraising page. So that went to breast cancer resources here in Southern California. So huge thanks to all of you who participated and donated towards my fundraising efforts.
Awesome.
Made a
Congratulations,
difference.
James.
Thank you.
That's cool.
Thank you. All right, you guys, we'll see you next Monday, same time, same place.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.